Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's an ad hoc live stream. I'm just sorting out my carpet. Hang on a second. There we go. It's an ad hoc live stream. I didn't get a chance to give you a Warhammer Sunday on Sunday, so I thought I'll do an extra one now. Why, is everything a bit dark? Well, it looks a bit dark, doesn't it? Yes, I didn't get a chance to do anything on Sunday, so I thought I'll try and get some stuff done during the week. As you can tell by these little sort of Space Marine Morris dancers here, we're going to be carrying on with the Space Marines from our Warhammer Conquest partwork. We got part way through last Sunday, so yeah, we're a little bit behind. But welcome everybody. It's what day? Tuesday, I think possibly something like that. This is just one of these extra ad hoc streams I'm doing because we're all struggling, we're all at home, we're all bored, and we haven't seen other humans for ages. So it's just a way for us to all hang out together. So if you are watching this, and you can see there's a live stream there, but if you want to actually join in the live stream and do the typey, do click on the YouTube icon that's in the bottom right hand corner if you can't see where the chat is. And that will take you to the YouTube page where you can join in at the live chat. I'm just going to stow my dog tags away because they're rattling. Hang on. There we go. So do come and join the live chat because this doesn't really matter what I'm going to be doing here on telly. It's more just a chance for you guys to hang out in chat, so come and join in. Very, very quickly, I'm going to go through faster than normal because I've only really got a couple of hours. It's not my normal 3-hour show. Very, very quickly, massive thanks to the people that make these streams possible. First of all, my patrons, my lovely patrons over at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. They pay my wages. They are lovely. I love them to bits. Thank you to them. And also Goblin Gaming and emodels.co.uk, two awesome online stores that sell everything you'll ever need for model making. Do go and check them both out. My sponsor and my affiliate sponsor. Links in the description below the video as always. Do go and check those out. Hello. Dad has put an ad hoc payment of £1.99 through in the super chat. Thank you very much, Dad. Very, very kind of you. I don't know, but I don't owe you any subscriptions, so, but thank you anyway. But yes, welcome. As you've seen there with the super chat, I've got the chat in front of me, so if you want to get my attention, I say this is all about hanging out in chat and having a good time. So if you are watching this and you want to get my attention, I've got the chat here. Just type in big fat capital letters, so I have to, wow, hang on, wait, swig. Oh. I'm not used to starting at 4 o'clock. Type in big fat capital letters so I have chan. Wow! Hang on, more liquids. Let's try that one again. Take 3. Type in the chat in big capital letters so I have a chance to see it. Or if you wish to, you can do a super chat, which is a little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That means I get a coloured bar like that and I can see it. And it also helps me out because I make a little bit of income from that. So feel free. Right, very, very, very quick whiz through the chat and see who is in. I'm just going to read names out. The first one I see is Dad, Candyman for Mongo, Cy Reynolds, Dave Ullowayne 3. Hello, welcome David Ullowayne, not spoken to you before. Candyman for Mongo, Quano Man, Athel Montnickel, Thy Creator, Eric Graham, Raging Bassist, I said bassist. Eric Graham, Dad, Thy Creator, Ian Thompson, Quano Man, Tomcat 181, Eric Graham. We have George, is it George? Welcome, George. George has been a bit poorly sick over the last few weeks, so welcome to George. We all love George to bits. George is awesome. So welcome, George. I'm glad you can make it. He's been a bit poorly sick over the last few weeks, so he's just had a chance to join us. I like the fact you're getting back into the saddle, George. Welcome back. We have, who else? Team Inept, that's Paul. So everybody's about to get banned. I haven't seen Lewis yet, or Dave, so he hasn't banned them too. Dad, of course, is in. We have, who else is coming? David Sanderson, well, hello. Lee Eagles, hello, Lee. We have, anybody else? If I miss anybody, I do apologise. Eric Graham, we have, Raging Bases we've done. Oh, everything jumped. Scale Model Vamp, welcome. Aries Styrie and Edward Leonard, hello to both and 3 of you. We have Apollo XRP. What's up? Welcome, Apollo XRP. Not seen you in chat before, but welcome. Ickle Pete. Frankie goes to Hobbywood. Welcome, Frankie, to Ickle Pete. Beyond Hope. Welcome. And Chris at Gross Models is in. Yes, the people with the blue spanners, they are your mods. They are lovely and fluffy and fuzzy, like little cute kittens with delicate and curious faces. They'll keep you safe in chat, but if you cross them, they'll feed you to the angle grinding machine that grinds up big rocks on the building site. So, yeah, don't cross them, but they'll look after you. Anyway, damn it, another stream I've almost missed, says Beyond Hope. We've literally just started. It's right, it's a shorter stream today. Anyway, let's crack on. I'm going to zip through today because I've only got a couple of hours. So, that's all my energy gone now. I just completely machine gunned you all. I do apologise. So so let's get these bits out. We've got a little super chat come through there. It's not got up on here yet. It comes up on here as well. Quano Man pops a £1 through, but forgets to put a comment on there. Oh. Did you do a tip, Quano Man, or was that super chat? It's not come up as a super chat yet. But thank you very much regardless. Very, very kind of you. Oops, let's just get that bit out there. Now, if you remember on the Sunday, not this Sunday just gone, but the Sunday before, I did start cleaning up our dude. That's not come through yet on here. I think you did you do a tip? Or have I just stopped? Has my stream stopped completely? Nothing's happened. How very strange. Oh, there we go. Super chat. There you go. It was a super chat. Good girl. I thought it would be. Yeah, it's just very weird. It didn't pop up. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yes, I got this guy all, mostly, I think, prepped. I'm not sure, so we might be able to glue him together straight away. Osric 9000 is in. Darren 20159. Whenever I see that, I always think of an ELO song. I'll stop that train of thought there because it wasn't going anywhere. Are you saying Daddy's getting fluffy? I think £1 doesn't let you do a comment, says Paul at Team Inept. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Right. Now, let's have a look and see. Dad device. I don't know where I was up to with this particular dude. I need to take a swig. I've not got coffee because I've had a million cups of coffee today already, which is probably why I'm a bit hyper right now. So I've got the waters instead. Yes, I was going to be doing lots of work on the Falcon today on the bench, but I've got to be honest with you guys and girls. I have had no mojo for the last few weeks with the Falcon. I've done bits on it, but it's just like, I don't know. At the minute, there's so much else going on at the moment in the world. It's been quite difficult to actually sit down and crack on with it and film. So there's stuff going on with real life and in the world in general, in my world, in this house and this family. So yeah, so not a lot of energy and mojo to crack on, but I've done some. So I thought if I've not got that mojo, I may as well just crack on with this. At least it gives me at the bench for a couple of hours, and that might lead to other things. Right, so I've got little bits of cleanup on here. I think just little tiny bits. If you've not seen one of these before, I am working on my Warhammer Conquest subscription. If you don't know what that is, Warhammer Conquest is an 80-part part work from Hachette. You get 80 magazines over about a year and a half, 2 years. And you build up a Death Guard and a Space Marine army, one of each, over the course of all the magazines. And I've got all the issues now. Everything's been received. I've not got the right sanding sticks. Where's my sanding stick? I've got all the issues now. And what I'm doing is slowly but slowly working my way through all the buildy parts, because you've obviously got lots and lots of models to build. I'm going through the building bit, and then once everything is built, I'll crack on with the filming. And there'll be proper video filmed tutorial type things for all the models. Quano Man £2 says baseball cap fox. It's not a baseball cap. I shall prove it again. I've proved it many times. I shall prove it again. Where's the label? There you go. See? Don't know if you can see it now. Cap. It says on the label, cap, flying, summer, type B1, size 7 3/8. There you go. Air Force, US Army. Not a baseball cap. There you go. It's a World War II fighter pilot's cap thing. Shut up. Anyway, thank you for the £2. Despite that offensive comment, I'll let you off. Where are we? Cy Reynolds says he's actually doing modelling type stuff, and Chris says, "Don't worry, it won't last." It won't last. It will today because I'm on a limited time budget at the moment. I've got a couple of hours, so I thought I'll do what I can. But yes, I've had just because everything's going on, like I say, in the real world and in my life and around here and everything else. It's just my mojo has been just in the toilet for the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been really hard to get any work done and get time at the bench. So doing things like this, I quite like, because it does force me at the bench. It gets me at the bench. I get to hang out with you guys, so it gets rid of the cabin fever. Because don't forget, aside from, you know, the occasional Amazon delivery guy running away from the front door with a mask on and Mama Fox, you guys are the only humans I get to have any contact with, so, at the moment. So I'm grateful for all of it. Right, I think I've done this piece here. Hopefully the sound is okay and the video is okay. Do let me know. I think I remember to switch my camera back to 1080p from Monday night's e-model show. I think. I hope. Oops. Andy McLeish says Fox and Gevarten. You spelt that horribly, but never mind. Near enough, close enough. David Sanson, Fox, have you built your Part 4 repulsor yet? No, I am on issue. What issue is this? This is issue 56. Yes, anyway, as I was saying, I'm working my way through all the building, issue by issue of all the plastic models, because I will be filming proper full-on painting tutorials. I did start doing them, but I was following the magazine, and I realised it was a waste of time, so I stopped. The ones I've already partly painted, I will strip back, and we'll start again. And I will do proper painting tutorials for everything in the whole part work, which will take me a long time. A good couple of years worth of content I can make there. But at the moment I'm just spending my time building everything, because it's a lot easier for me to have... Which one am I building now? I've got no idea. Hang on. Which guy is this? I should have marked off the ones as I've done them, really, shouldn't I? I've done that one. I've got him, and I've got him, and I've got him. I've got that one, I think. I think I'm doing that one. Am I doing that one? Let's see what the legs look like. So yes, it's a lot easier for me, rather than having like lots and lots of magazines sitting around with all the plastic sprues. It's much easier for me if I just get everything, build it, and then I can store all the things, all the models in my, you know, my transport cases, in my skirmish case and my crusader case and things like that. It's much easier. It takes up a lot less space, and then they can sit and wait there in those cases until such time as I can then get ahead and paint them. So, and I have to say as well, if you haven't seen one of these before, I do have to give massive thank yous to George, who's in chat with you. Lovely dear George, who actually made this entire thing possible with his very kind, gracious kindness. And George and I are of course splitting this whole part when it's done. So he will get all the Space Marines, the Spice Maroons, and I will keep all the Death Guard. I'm not sure what we're doing with the scenery yet, but yeah, that's how it's going to be split. So should be jolly good fun. Massive thanks to George for making all of this possible. Quantum Man is banned, says Andy McLeish, because he mentioned the baseball cap. Looks like a baseball cap to me. It's not. Athol Manical says Mr. Blue Skies but yellow. No, actually yours truly 2095 is the one I was thinking of. From the album Time, which is their best album ever. Almost. And people are talking about baseball caps. I hate everybody right now. Chris at Gross Model says it's far too easy to say I'll do it tomorrow. Yes, this is what Chris was alluding to on his stream yesterday. Was it on Monday? It was yesterday on the e-model stream, I think. Right now, the difficulty is not necessarily for me, because I work from home anyway every day, but for those of you who go to jobs during the week, and what Chris was saying last night is normally you'll have like you'll have your job of work, from a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you, and you'll go to work, and you'll know that at the weekend you might have a few hours at weekend perhaps to do your modelly, which is what you love to do. And therefore you treasure that time, and when that time comes at the weekend, you crack on with it. Oh, what was that? Who was that? That was Glued to the Sprue. Paul says, Burbs. Thank you very much, Glued to the Sprue. Thank you very much, Paul. Paul's flitting between Glued to the Sprue and Team Inept. It's Paul, basically, one of those two. He'll go between them to try and hide from you when he tries to ban things. Thank you very much, Paul, and I'll say it again. Burbs. Burbs. Yeah, so like, you know, you've got your job of work, and you work at work, which is where you normally work, and then you know you've got your weekend or your couple of days off, whenever that may be, or whatever your shifts allow. And you know you've got a certain amount of time, and you're going to plan everything. You'll plan your housework and your family stuff, depending if you've got any family stuff to do, and if you've got kids. But then you know you've got a few hours set aside there where you can do your modelling. You can do your workbench stuff. You can get to the bench. This guy's got real pigeon toes. He's got real pigeon toe pose. I know you can't really see it, but I've got the best pose in the world. And yes, you've got a few hours set aside, and you'll treasure that, and you'll get as much done as you can, because you know, before you know it, you've got to go back to work on them. You'll get your back to school Sunday blues, and you get your lunch pack ready, and you iron your school shirt and stuff, and you'll be like, I'm not at school now. You know, so you do treasure that time. However, right now, for a lot of you, of course, who are used to being at work X number of days a week, now you're suddenly sat at home 5 to 7 days a week, and you're like, oh. So you kind of lose that focus. Now, I don't have that problem myself, because obviously this is where I am anyway, 7 days a week, but I do remember that problem when I used to work. And yeah, it's a real problem. It's just a complete shift in focus, and it's very hard to get back into it. And like Chris says, you know, he says it's far too easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. When you don't have the pressure of going back to work tomorrow, and you're not really in the mood today, you'll put it off. And even though this is something we love, and this is the problem I have, you know, with myself, someone who suffers from depression, you'll know, if you're like me and you suffer from depression, you know it's easy to get sidetracked and dislodged, and your motivation goes up and down. And so it is easy to sit here, and even though it's something we love, I can sit here and go, oh, I don't want to. So it's quite easy. So yeah. But just over the last few weeks, it's not really been anything like that. It's just more been other stuff I've had to devote my time to and worry about. So that's why I've not got much of the Falcon done. That's why I've done a few, you know, video game streams and stuff, because it's at least getting something done, and I can't do anything else. I do the talking from here, says Team Inept, and the donations from the account where you and Chris can't get my bank details, says Paul. Yes, I already have them, says Chris. Oh, screwed. JS Idaho's in. Welcome, JS Idaho. Frankie Goes to Hobbywood. I have a harissa cream cheese sandwich and a Waldmeister Wackelpudding. Waldmeister Wackelpudding with vanilla sauce in my belly. I don't even know what a Waldmeister Wackelpudding, but I need it. I don't know what Wackel is or how it gets made into a pudding, but I know it needs to be in my face. Waldmeister Wackelpudding. That sounds like a character name. Hello, my name is Waldmeister Wackelpudding. Today I will be flying the dirigible. Christopher C is in. Hello all, welcome Christopher. Always be careful what you wish for. We have all wished we had more time to build, and now we have it, lol, says Aries Stone. Yes, and for the worst possible reasons. Yeah, it's the old adage, careful what you wish for. It really is true. Vackle sounds kinky, I like it, says Team Inept. I always think I'm in trouble when I see someone type Christopher, says Chris. Yep. Yeah, I've not had Mojo for 4 weeks now, says Lee Eagles. Vackle means wobbly, says Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So it's a wobbly pudding. It's a Waldmeister wobbly pudding. That sounds like perhaps like a creme brulee or a what's that thing that's like that shape? Creme caramel or something, or jelly. Fox, it's green jelly. Oh, okay, that's not as exciting then. It sounds more exciting when you call it a Vackle pudding. My translation doesn't make it sound any less filthy. Tee Vankle, says Kevin Reynolds. It's different if you pronounce it with the German W, which is V, as Vankle. But if you pronounce it with the non-German W, which I'm not going to do because monetization, yes. Right, we're doing some stuff on this guy, aren't we? So we need to do some gluage, obviously, because it's a model. So yes, it is very easy to get demotivated, even with something that you enjoy and have a passion for, like this hobby, as we all do. It is easy to get demotivated, believe it or not. And it's weird, it's just human nature. As humans, we are pretty much rubbish. Because even I have it, and I say various things, you know, various reasons that I get easily demotivated. But, you know, when I was in a job of work, I'd be stuck in this crappy office job 5 days a week in my call centre job. And I'd be so unhappy, and I just spend every day of work dreaming of my days off, when I would be able to, you know, do X, Y, or Z, maybe play a particular game, or you know, get some modelling work done, or whatever it will be, or write some music. And I spend all that week at work focused on that. And then as soon as I got off from work, I'd sleep, and I'd surf the internet, and before you know it, it'd be Monday. And I'd be like, oh, that didn't happen. Or I'd have the desperate urge to, you know, be creative and do modelling and stuff, and then I'd just play video games. Can't help ourselves sometimes, we really can't. Just fiddly nonsense here. Now, if you know, I'm using the regular thick glue, and that's purely so that I have some. This is not going to cooperate. This is not going to cooperate. Oops, dear. Hang on. This is purely so I've got some good stick on these glues, on these arms, because it's a two-part arm, and they've not got the most hardly defined attachment points, which is not brilliant. So I'll get some extra thin in there and give it a second to attach properly. Yeah, so we are sometimes our own worst enemy. Like I say, sitting there for, I would literally sit there for 5 days a week, dreaming of whatever creative thing I was going to do on my days off, and then I wouldn't do it because I'm just rubbish. I'd distract myself with some nonsense. There's a, if you ever go and read my comic strips, they don't have their own website anymore because Avoid Spikes. Dogsounds.com isn't a website anymore. But I actually put all the Avoid Spikes strips on my. Do you know this arm is not sticking? Look, get on there. Stay on there. I'm going to have this arm sit there for a minute. I used to do on my old website. I used to do a weekly comic strip, Avoid Spikes. It's all backed up. It's all on my current, modelmakingguru.com. But I used to have its own website, and every weekend I would spend the whole weekend drawing the comic strip, and I loved it. It was great. I love my comic strip. It was a web comic, and I'd spend all week at work planning the next week's strip, the next weekend's strip, and coming up with the script and the jokes and gags and stuff. And then it'd come to the weekend, and most of the time I'd just crack on. But every now and then, because of the way I actually am, this arm is going to give me nothing but just trouble now. Because of the way I am, I would sometimes just not do any of it. Oh, this... Right, seriously not liking this, dude. That arm is not sticking. I don't know why. What plastic glue, why you no work. Right. Let's try this again, shall we? Before I cover the whole damn dude in glue. And it's moved again. God damn it. Right, that goes in there, that goes in there. Plunge. Right, I'm going to have to just not do anything with this arm for a minute and let this other arm glue. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. Let's get the head glued in and stuff. Get that bit done first. Anyway, yeah, so I'd sit there all week, just like my way of surviving the week at work in my crappy job was to, imagine and visualize what I'd get up to with the comic strip, and then I'd just get home and I'd play Fallout 3. And then, because I was so knackered I'd be so knackered from work, the last thing I wanted to do was spend all weekend drawing the comic strip, and I'd just kind of play Fallout 3. And then nothing will get done. And you might see occasionally in my in the comic strip, there'll be like a sort of placeholder comic strip. So you might get like a test card, or you might get a little thing of text saying, "Hey, no strip this week because of." And once or twice it was for genuine reasons, but quite often it was because I was playing Fallout 3. This is going back to like 2007, 2008. I'd be playing Fallout 3 because I had no mojo at all. And I'm just one of those people that even when it's doing something I love, the mojo can just up and get out. David Sanderson says, best sticking the left arm to the weapon first. Yep, except I haven't done that. And that arm is still moving. It's not so much that, it's for some reason this plastic is not... Normally it's like fixed in concrete by now, but it's just really loose for some reason. I don't quite know why. Normally the extra thin has done its magic and everything's glued in place quite nicely, thank you. Very weird. Let's give it a go of... I'm going to regret the wrath of this because it stinks like horribleness, but let's give it a go of the extra thin, super fast drying stuff. What happens here? Holding my breath because this stuff does stink like absolute garbage. Not breathing in through my nose. I can smell it anyway. Everybody's going to die. Oh, there we go. Whew. Get that lid on quick. Oh. I do like that fast setting cement, but dear God, does it smell horrible. Oh, it's giving me flashbacks to the woodwork class. What's everybody doing? Let's have a look. Always be careful what you... Well, we've done that one. People talking about Vackle. We've done that one. Yes, Chris, you've been very productive of late. Chris says, I feel like I've done nothing, but I really have done loads with all the extra streams, says Chris. Yeah, exactly. The first 2 weeks of shutdown, I built a transport truck and trailer with 2 race cars on the trailer, and I am pretty sure that's more than I built all last year, says Aries Styrant. It's true. Athelman Nichols says, oh no, not the black dog. Depression to everyone who knows no better. Yeah, exactly. We've all got our, well, not all of us, but some of us do have our own black dogs. Most of the time I sat down to model at the bench and end up watching YouTube, says Christopher C. Yep. Eric says to Dad, modelling wise, you're probably avoiding doing domestic chores Gemma has lined up for him. That's Chris, of course. Chris said, did you do some house painting? Weekly comic strip or a weekly comic strip, says Team Inept, with emphasis on the spelling. Banned. Like, is everything a bit dark and oppressive on screen, or does it look okay? Because on my monitor it looks a bit dark and oppressive. It's very strange. Shock, Fox having trouble with arms. This is not Deathcore or Krieg, don't you worry about that. I don't have a problem with these arms because they do fit perfectly. It's just I'm having trouble with one arm staying where it's put. That should be glued on enough now. So let's just plink this in here. It wasn't a problem with the fit, it was a problem with manhandling this arm while the other one was still moving, where it would normally be sort of stuck in place. It was still moving about, which is really weird. That goes there. That on there. I should put a little bit of extra thin in yon hole here. See, there's lovely. A little bit in there. We'll pick that puppy up. Get that in there. There we go. Easier now, it's not moving. That is not even remotely in the right place. What's going on with that arm? That doesn't seem right at all. Wow, there's something not quite right with that arm. Is that even the right arm? Hang on. F15. I'll make sure that is actually the correct arm. 12, 3, 34, 22. Yeah, it's the right arm, as far as I can tell. It just doesn't want to fit. It's weird. Very strange. Most unusual. It probably is just me being a spoon. Yes, I don't deny that. But it does seem strange that it doesn't want to fit under the shoulder, which is really weird. Under the pauldron, even. The pauldron has a hole, but the actual... This is really weird. This is not fitting at all. I'll fudge it. I'll get it together as best I can. But it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. That's shocking. That actually doesn't fit. As if it's not even the right arm. That arm's a mess. That's not good. That is actually terrible. Wow, that's horrible. I've never had a problem with Games Workshop arms not fitting. Well, let's be specific, with Games Workshop not Forge World arms not fitting, but that is terrible. I shall do the best of a bad job. I shall glue what I can together and hope it stays in place. There's a big gap round his wrist, but can't do much with that. That's about as good as I can get it. There we go. That's just absolute pants. His arm's just floating in midair there, which is absolute rubbish. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's just gone to nonsense. Oh well, it'll do. We'll survive. Never come across that before. How very strange. Very strange. Oh, well, you've got one shonky Space Marine, George. Doesn't matter what I do, he doesn't want to fit together. But you'll have a load of other really not shonky ones, so I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't lose too much sleep on it. There you go. How very strange. I don't like that one at all. Don't like that one at all. Are you sure the peg is the right shape? It's well, his armpit had a hole, but there was no actual peg on the arm, so it is the right arm. It's the correct arm. It just doesn't seem to be the right arm, if you know what I mean. Like a peg and hole thing, but there was no actual peg to go in the hole. So it's in now. It's gone in, but it's not very. It'll be fine. There we go. Done. I've done these figures and they were totally fine, says David Sanson. I've done them before as well. I've built these ones before. I don't know why that one suddenly didn't fit. Very weird. Could be the wrong body. No, I've got everything correct. Don't worry. Pressures of live streaming, says David Sanderson. Yes, it is interesting when you do a live stream and things go wrong. Where are we? Ian says, can't see what's wrong from here. What's the issue? Well, it's about that big on your screen. No, just this arm didn't fit very well into the armpit and at the wrist. I don't know why. I would be tempted to say it wasn't even the right arm. Like I say, the armpit had a hole, like a socket, and as if the arm should have a peg, but there was no peg, so. Waiting for the mic to drop as he realises he's got the wrong parts. It's not impossible, but I have checked. Arm number 15, it's not on the sprue anymore. Let's do the next one. All hail triangle, says Paul at Team Inept. Well, if I've done a norm and taken a wrong Lego piece early, then I can't unfortunately borrow from the future, because it's not Lego, but never mind. That's a tested reference that most people won't get. Right, next up we have these last two. I'm going to mark these off as done so I know which ones I've done. I've done that one, I've done that one. Right. There we are. So the next one we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There we go. I do like the fact they've gone all Bandai and they started, all the parts are like, for each person are like sequential. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for this guy, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the next guy. I like that. Excuse me, burpage there. Burptacular. One, what was this again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. 1, 2. These are my big chunky nippers, so I'm gonna cut these not close to the model, leave a little bit of stuff left. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. 3 is I'm even doing them in order because that's how careful I am. 4. Bit of advice for you, by the way. Does anyone in chat watch Bosch on Amazon Prime? If you do, there's a whole new series of it, series 6. The one thing that bugs me about Amazon Prime is they don't really do anything to tell you there's a new series of something you've been watching. If you've got something in your watch list, you don't get a mail or a notification or anything. You just have to go in and go, oh look, there's a new series, after I've scrolled through loads of other things. The one thing Amazon Prime should do more of is, if I've got something on my watch list, send me notifications when a new series comes up. That might help me, not miss things. What are we doing? Like a bloopers video. Botched like Fox's army arms. I only have problem with the Deathcore Krieg, and that's because nothing is numbered and nothing is with you. You don't know which arm goes where, and it's resin and super glue, which makes it even worse. I challenge anyone to do the Deathcore Krieg infantry firing set and not utter swear words along the way. Not have troubles and challenges. Right, here we go with the nub in the middle of the centre of the backpack as before. You'll get my head in shot now, because there's no way to get this nub off without hacking. And it is most frustrating. Osric 9000. And I'm back, says Osric. You gone? As always, ladies and gents, it's time for the question. If Dad would ask the question for me, if he's in chat still. It's like a bloopers video. I'm a walking bloopers video. My entire life is a bloopers video. Dad, ask the question, Dad. Dad, where are you, Dad? Dad, ask the question, Dad. Dad. There we go. No, that's not it. Dad, where's Dad? Dad, ask the question, Dad. Dad, space. Hey, wanna go space? Space. There we go. Dad says, what's on your bench and what's in your belly, folks? Yeah, what's on your bench, what you're working on, and what's in your belly, what you're going to have for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner. It doesn't have to be a model that you're working on. It doesn't have to be on a bench. Just, what have you got on the minute? What creative things are you doing at the minute, if anything? And if you're not, what are you doing instead? Wench and smelly, stench and jelly. It's all trench and telly. It's all a bit weird in there. Dench and deli. You missed that one out. Right. Beyond Hope just made a Kings of War Dwarven Warband. White metal and arms are separate. They came out a treat and only one pot of super glue over my fingers. Yeah, metal's fine. Metal's easy to get. Yeah, with metal, if you go wrong with the super glue, you can easily remove it. When you've got a resin model and you've got super glue everywhere and it's gone wrong, you're kind of screwed because you can't get the super glue off. At least on metal, you can just get your debonder and stuff and really hack away at it and it'll come off. But on resin, you can't do that because you damage the resin. Also doesn't help that I absolutely hate working with resin. Although I have to say, I'm looking forward to my 2 Forge World Deathcore tanks. Seriously, can't wait to get going on those. They will be superb! Right. Where are we? Trench and coat. Bench, still my work laptop with the Mustang hiding behind it. Belly will be cheesy chicken enchiladas with some onion rings, says Andy McLeish. Excellent. Will it be mushrooms, fried onion rings? You'll have to wait and see. Oh, it's chips. We hope. It's an old advert. Never mind, moving on. I'm doing the laundry, says Frankie Goes to Hobbywood. It's not really creative, but it'll work. It counts. You can make it fun. Probably. Somehow. I don't know. There's probably a way to make laundry fun, I guess. I'm working on Warhammer Conquest, but in Austria we are only at issue 12, says David Olowin. 3, welcome David. Issue 12, I can't remember which one that was now. It's probably more Poxwalkers. It's always Poxwalkers. Dinner some stuff from Marks and Spencer, says Team Inept. Get you, posh middle class nonsense, overpriced rubbish. A bench heckling some dipstick who can't glue arms. Yeah. Osric says bench 1/350 scale kilo class submarine arrived in the post today. Belly pie and chips. I think we're having like ham and chips tonight. Just some generic canned ham and chips, but obviously not canned chips because that's stupid. David Sanderson says nothing on the bench at the minute. Mojo gone for a rest. TK is in. Welcome TK. TK says bench tiny X-wing decal times. Belly hopeful pizza later. You can't just say TK. You as a mod, you know the rules. I'm surprised nobody's schooled you yet. You know the rules more than anybody else. You can't just say pizza. Even if you don't know, you have to make something up. You can't just say, you have to say what kind of pizza. Scale model vamp Nismo GTR R34Z tune version. There's lots of words I don't know. I assume that's a car. I don't know what that is. And me belly has pineapple beer with a Hawaiian pizza, and yes, it had pineapple on it. This is acceptable because you know what? Pineapple on a pizza is fine. I like pineapple on my Hawaiian pizzas. If I get a pizza, a custom thing, I always have things like barbecue chicken, I have ground beef, anchovies, peppers, chilies, I have the pineapple. It's all good stuff. Pineapple is a nice fruit. Team Inept says, achoo! It's been raining all day. Why do I have hay fever? Because you're rubbish. I don't know. DS9 Runabout, says Gary Reynolds. Oh, I've got one of them in my stash. It's under this bench somewhere. I've got one in my stash. I've built one before and it was great fun. So if you're building a DS9 Runabout, I'm going to put a link in the chat. Let me just check the chat is still working. Hang on. Yep, I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you're not already a member, Gary Reynolds, you probably are. I do apologise. I don't remember all my members' names. But if you're not already a member of the Model Makers Boom Up, do go and join. If for no other reason than just I want to see your progress on the DS9 Runabout. Because I've never met anybody who's actually built it. It's an old kit. It's a rare kit now to find. And it's one of the few well, it depends if you get the Revell or the... Was it just Revell? Was it MP? I can't remember if it's NPC or AMT or something now, the one I've got. It might just be Revell. But it's... yeah, where is it? I can't remember where it is now. I can't even see it. It's under here somewhere. I can't find it. It's there somewhere. I've not come across anyone who's actually built it. I've built one before, and I did a very quick build of it once. But I've got another, because I went many years ago when it was long out of print. I went on eBay and bought two of the kits, just so I had one for the future. And my plan possibly would be to actually build an interior for it. Because here's a handy tip: if anybody out there has the Runabout Yangtze Kiang kit, the one where you can build it as the Orinoco or the Yangtze, it's got the roll bar if you want the roll bar. Has no interior, but it has clear windows. You can make an interior for it. You could scratch build an interior, and if you were to do that, then if you got yourself a copy of the Deep Space Nine technical manual, there are actually easily scanned and reprinted images of all the acudograms that make all the consoles on the dashboard. So you can literally scan them in or take a photograph, print them out onto decal sheets, and you could make the acudograms. You know, the acudograms are like the control surfaces, all the lights and stuff, the touch screens. You could make those you could make your own decals. So in case you didn't know that, get yourself a copy of the DS9 technical manual. And it's not got every single one, but it's got quite a lot of the actual consoles in a runabout as a flat diagram. And it's easy to get them scanned in or photographed and printed out. So there you go. Handy tip from me if you're building your... I think it's 1/72 scale, but it's really big. It's like bigger than a Lancaster. And it's a really nice kit. Even though the panel lines are a bit over the top, it's not a bad little kit. We have to scratch build the interior because there's literally no interior at all. But it shouldn't be too hard to make. I've seen people do it. What I did on my first one though was, rather than use the clear plastic windows, I didn't make an interior, but I just literally left the windows out and put flat plastic card behind them, so it's just flat, and painted that matte black. Because if you look at the studio models of most of those like runabouts and shuttles and stuff, the windows are just black. They're just they're not clear. There's no glass in them or clear perspex. They're just flat and black. And then anything else will be added on later. Some of them had. Some of the small shuttle models had like almost like paper card stuck over the window area, because I've seen the studio model where it's peeling off a little bit. And some of them just had them painted matte black. Not everything had lighting in it, you see, that's the thing. I don't know about the runabouts though. I can't remember. I've seen. If you go on the internet, there are in fact very few photographs of the studio model. I think one of them is from Rick Sternbach. I think it's Rick Sternbach. Of one of his own photographs. Rick Sternbach. There's a guy who made loads of Star Trek models for the Next Generation and stuff, and he had a load of photographs that he put up. He had a website, and he's long gone now. The site's long gone. He had loads of photographs. It might be Rick Sternbach, I'm not sure. Can't remember. Another one is a photograph from when it was auctioned off at somewhere. There's some like big auction. They sold the models. And there's literally a handful of photographs on the net. And they're really small, they're not great, so there's not a lot of reference. Powerwolf, do you have some curved scalpel blades? Not a meme. If you don't, for some reason, you should get some. XL has a set of 5 that are reasonably priced. They work well in tandem with the Tamiya Scriber. No, I haven't, but I can investigate. I can investigate that with my looking glands. Hello, Mama Fox.
Hello. Hello, folks.
Mama Fox says hello. I'll let you in, Gary, because you have a stupendous surname, says Cy Reynolds. I'm guessing then, yes. Reborn in Rationality. Nearly missed it again. Hey, Reborn. No, we've only been going for an hour. Where are we? I'm trying to catch up with the bench and belly. It moved very fastly. Gross models. No idea about belly. Daughter's turn to do food. Bench. Nano. ISS just done. More wood for tomorrow. Yes. Beyond Hope says bench. Skaven plague monks, converting them to chaos. Sorry, converting them to plague censer bearers. Flail swinging nutters. Belly. Nothing. It's been raining all day. Why do I've done that one. Edward Lennon says, my wife got a call that she's going back to work next Tuesday. Apparently Florida cares more about its economy than people's health. Florida. AJ Dodgers, welcome AJ Dodgers, says bench 1144th white base catapult deck. I know what that is. A lot of people in there, but I know what that is. To display my Gumpler. And belly pepperoni pizza. Yes. I know what the white base catapult deck is. It's a Gumpler thing, folks. That sounds awesome, though. Raging Bassist. If Games Workshop reopens, I can't decide what to get. Nagash or a Bloodthirster. Yes, there is a rumour that Games Workshop are due to reopen their web store fairly soon. So if you are in desperate need of paints and supplies or just picking up kits, it sounds like they are about to, or they are considering reopening it fairly soon. So keep your eye on their website and other sources of information, because they might be back open again. And hopefully that means that I don't know whether that means they'll start supplying stock to their retailers and to third parties. I don't think it means they'll open the stores, because there's a whole practicality of social distancing. But whether it means they start sending stock to third party retailers like eModels. Because eModels do stock Games Workshop. They only have a small selection at the moment because they were about to get a load more, and then everything fell over and the world became on fire. So yeah. They've literally got Mephisto Red and Avalanche Sunset. They had the two, because they didn't get any of the paints in their first shipment, you see. So, because I said to them, "Are you going to get more paints?" And they went, "Yeah, we're just waiting for them to turn up." And then everything went on fire, and now nothing works anymore. This is why we can't have nice things. Right, that's that done. Bench. I made a boring bar holder for my small metal lathe, and I tried it out on some brass belly salad in a few hours. I mean, I assume you mean boring bar holder, like a holder that holds a bar for boring, not a boring as in not very interesting. All the jokes. Paul at Team Inept. I keep thinking about starting my Lando edition Falcon, but I don't want to rain on anyone's Falcon parade, but actually finishing one. Feel free. I get the feeling mine might take a while. Quanoman. Photo etch Lando hatch and vents for the Falcon. He's doing the big D'Agostini Falcon, which is the size of a house. Belly is all the pies, which is great, but you don't say what kind of pies. Fail. Go and sit on the step for a minute and think about what you've done. Nickel Mexican rice with chili sauce and venison chunks, and on the bench, Games Workshop Land Raider Crusader of the Regal Ravens. Nice. Yes, it is a scale model vamp. I don't know what we were talking about. I've already forgotten. Thy creator, great. I just pulled a fox and did a stabity. Yay! I haven't actually done a stabity for a while, but over the last couple of weeks, for some reason, I keep getting little cuts on my hands. Like, I had one on my thumb there, and now I've got one there. And I got one on my finger here that was really inconvenient. And then that had gone away. I got one on this finger here. And I keep getting little cuts on my hands, but only in places where plasters can't get to. And it's really annoying. So this one, I've got this one on my thumb from, I don't know where, I don't know, it's not from stabity. It's just, I just wake up in the morning and I've got like a little snick on my hand. Like I've sleep cut myself or something. I don't know. It's weird. Hope you're okay there. They're creator. Don't bleed to death or anything. Where are we? Something jumped. Powell says concave will be a better word than curve for the knife blades. Although yeah, but if you say curved, you can say, have you heard of those scalpel blades from Markarth? They have curved blades. Curved. Skyrim meme. Moving on. I'm not a decal fan, it always ends in disaster, Andy. McLeish, decals are easy, you just got to take your time and have patience. Also, if you're doing a Mobius kit, they'll always end in disaster because they're garbage. Beyond Hope built one and used the seats from a 172nd AMT Stratotanker for the bridge chairs. Couldn't find a 172nd Jadzia Dax though. Yes, I saw one where they'd repainted some generic figures, 172nd figures, for the inside of their runabout. Shapeways doing interior. There you go then, says Gary Reynolds. Gary Reynolds, join the boom. What, you've just validated yourself. Yes, in that case, I forgot about Shapeways. In my day, when I was planning building one myself, Shapeways didn't exist. But if Shapeways has an interior, yes. Hi Mama Fox, hi Mama Fox, hi Mama Fox. The venison is ready, so I'm off to eat, says Athol Manickle. Enjoy your venison and stuff, dude, and your rice. Take care. Thanks for coming in. Let's have a look. They've just posted, GamesWorks have just posted a new Katachan, or Katakan, I think it's Katachan, commander for FLGS. Somebody remember what FLGS stands for? I can't remember now. Something game stores. Yes, who looks apparently like the bloke from Predator? I don't know. When somebody said, oh, they've made a guy that looks like Dylan, and I said, who's Dylan? And Paul shouted at me. He's like, hang on, I haven't watched that film in like 30 years. Give me a break. I only watched it once. Where are we? Carl Weathers, Katak-chan for FLGS is awesome, says Paul. Barbatos, as usual, says Nim, welcome Nim. And Belly, I don't know. It's not unusual that you don't know. You always don't know. Quanoman says, Fox is what Steve is doing, the big Diag Falcon, I'm doing the Bandai. Oh, sorry, mate, I always get you. I'm getting you're both your Falcons confused. I always do. I lose track of who's doing which one. Team Inept says, Gary Reynolds is now my favourite Reynolds. Sorry, Sai. Sai's dumped. Right, anyway, let's crack on. What are we on? 5:10. See if we can get another dude done. Do another dude. Do a friendly local game store, that's it. Yes, this figure they've done, this is apparently it's FLGS exclusive, which means I assume it's not in Warhammer stores and not online. But I've never heard of, unless they've done it, but for some reason I find it unusual that they're doing stuff exclusively for non-Warhammer stores. I mean, I know they have no issue with, like, you know, licensed third-party stores, but I didn't know they were. It's quite nice they've done that. You can't go to a Warhammer store, you have to go to your non-Warhammer. But maybe it's just because they know their stores aren't going to be open for a while. It's the only place they can get stuff sold. It's through the third-party stores that are still open. I suppose in that, you think about it that way. I would not be surprised then if this limited to FLGS thing wasn't part of the original plan until about, like 4 weeks ago. When an executive suddenly went, everything's on fire, our stores are closed for the next 6 months, we're going to die. And somebody said, you know what, just make this figure exclusive to non-Games Workshop stores and that'll get people buying stuff. Because there's no choice, they can't support any other outlet other than their web store. Because they're not open. So, yeah. Nice there. It's a nice figure. I've seen a picture of it, it does look fantastic. I have got a Slime Arbo. I've not made it yet. But the Slime Arbo is fine cast. It's a blind mod. It's fine cast. It's that resin stuff. So I don't know if this is plastic, this new guy, or not. Foxy, use new skin instead of plasters for fingers. It stings like hell. Says Athol McNichol. I don't know what's new skin. I don't know what that is. I always forget to use super glue, of course. I didn't know this apparently, by the way. But everybody says how the super glue was meant for field repairs of people's skin and stuff on the field. It was a military invention and used for sealing wounds temporarily and stuff. That is true, but apparently you can't just use any old super glue to seal up a wound on your finger, because there is actually apparently, if I remember this rightly, there's a medical grade or medically compatible or biocompatible super glues. And not all like commercially available superglues are biologically compatible. Because apparently, get this, the original, or the superglues, the CA glues that were designed for temporarily sealing wounds, were designed to not splinter into little fragments. Because the risk is if you use your bog standard Gorilla Glue or, you know, your Bob James or whatever it is, or your Zap CA, whatever your super glue is, some of those glues, when it's in place in your finger, if you've got, say, a gap in your finger, a wound, it can fracture and splinter, and you might get a little tiny sharp shard breaking off and going into your bloodstream, which, let's just consider the idea of something sharp and pointy in your bloodstream. That's a horrendously horrible thing. Or it may just be a little chunk that breaks off and goes into your bloodstream and doesn't dissolve, doesn't break away and dissolve fast enough. In which case, hello, blood clot, not great. You could potentially die. So apparently it's not such a great idea unless the super glue you're using is one of those that's actually fine for medical use. Apparently. I could be wrong. This is me reading things third party, but that's why I tend to not do it, because you never know when it's solid, if it's going to break off and fracture and get into your bloodstream, that's kind of a bad thing. So maybe don't do that. If you're a soldier on the battlefield, it's worth the risk. If you're a pasty middle class model maker like we are, sat at your workbench in suburbia, yeah, don't take the risk. Beyond Hope. Now I have to decide whether to track down an FLGS to get this dude or put in an order to the battle sister in amazingly awesome pose. Don't forget, if you want to find your local Warhammer store or your local approved licensed not Warhammer store, your local licensed or approved distributor or retailer, on the Games Workshop website, just do a Google search for Games Workshop Store Finder. When you do a search on their store finder, you put in your postcode, it gives you all the nearest retail outlets that you can buy Games Workshop, including Warhammer stores and non-Warhammer stores. Wherever you are in the world, it'll tell you all the nearest ones. If you want to find your nearest store, go to just the store finder on their website. It's in the menu, but I can never remember where it is, so I just do a Google search for Games Workshop Store Finder, and you'll find it. You shall come across it. Need to go for dinner. Bye, says David Sanderson. Thanks for coming in, David. Take care, buddy. I use Gorilla Glue for small wounds. Ascension Industries. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well. Hey, Ascension. Welcome, my friend. Hope you are well yourself. Just use sellotapes as gross models. Yep. Or, just use a plaster, or just don't stab yourself. Yeah, I say that. Those words actually came out of my mouth. I do apologise. Just don't stab yourself. Check yourself, Fox, before you wreck yourself. Yes, I'm a little reluctant to use the super glue trick, because I don't really want to die of an embolism. Embolism. Or similar. Or such. Where's me? There it is. Been researching clear coats before I get my spray booth next week. What do you guys recommend, says Ascension. It depends what you're actually varnishing and what you want the varnish to do. What is it you're putting a varnish coat on? Is it remote control cars? Is it things that are going to go into a display cabinet and never get touched? Is it Gunpla that you want to have movement? Is it tabletop stuff that you're going to be handling all the time? What is it you're putting a clear coat on? Is it like shiny model cars which need lots of high shine stuff? Athol says, okay, I'm off this time. A stupid old me forgot to heat the rice properly, but now it's done, so I'm off to feed. Ta-ta. Thanks, Athol. Take care, buddy. Enjoy your stuff. 2-minute microwave, I bet, because that's what we've got. We bought 1 million packets of it when everything went on fire. We had lots and lots of packets of Uncle Ben's 2-minute rice. Yes. Si Reynolds, I've died. Vallejo Premium Gloss or whatever finish you need. Why do you say I've died? Essentially, still movable Gunpla with semi-gloss and gloss. I would say the first step is really not to have them still movable, because it just gives you more stress. If you want them to be movable and stuff, you don't really want to go for acrylic varnishes because they're not durable enough. If people are going to be handling it to move it around, yeah, especially glosses. If you're doing gloss on a Gunpla, normally it's one of them like showroom clean. I assume they're going to be nice, clean, shiny, funky design jobs. I don't know. It might even be worth. I mean, acrylic varnishes will be fine, but yeah, you might be better looking at your lacquer finishes, perhaps. Just But then you've got the risks of spraying lacquer varnishes over acrylic paints. They can reactivate the acrylic paints and kill them completely. I would say, if you're looking at things like Tamiya and Mr. Hobby, like you say, you probably want to be painting your Gunpla with Tamiya or Mr. Hobby lacquer paints in that case. I would not recommend painting your model with acrylic paints and then slapping a lacquer varnish all over it, because it may be fine, or the lacquer varnish may eat the paint alive. Golden rule is never paint a lacquer on top of anything that isn't a lacquer, because you're going to end up in sadness. So no, I'm not a man. I've not really had a lot of call for gloss and semi-gloss finishes, so I can't really help you too much on that. As to the which the best ones might be. But if you go in the lacquer route, then absolutely you want to paint with lacquer paints. Or not, if not lacquer paints, then at the very worst, Tamiya's regular paints, which are labelled as acrylics but are actually alcohol based, so not really acrylics. Mr. Hobby may be a better option, but I would not recommend spraying lacquers on top of acrylics ever. It might be alright. It might dissolve the paint instantly, or you might come back in 3 years' time and find that the paint's seeped and oozed. Why have you died, Si? Oh, I know. Everybody move on. It's just a little in-joke. Mr. Hobby Matt lets me move my kits as long as I don't go too heavy with it, says Nim. Yeah, the one. I will be honest. The one thing that burnt me out on Gunpla was the constant dilemma of how the hell to paint them and keep them movable. To the point that it actually put me off doing Gunpla, because I was like, you know what? I want to enjoy this. This is too stressful. Trying to figure out how to coordinate painting something with a billion parts, and you need to keep. Now, in the end, I decided the easiest way to do Gunpla for me was to simply do fixed pose. So you assemble it and you glue various components. You glue them into it, like the elbows and the knees. You glue them where you want them to be, and that way you can assemble the inner frame and just paint it. You don't have to worry about, if I paint this bit, but then when I move this joint, this paint's going to strip off, but if I put it too thick a varnish on, it won't move. Yeah, I gave up on that. Because at the end of the day, I suddenly realised I'm not going to put 100 hours into a model that somebody's going to play with. They don't even need to pose it. Because if somebody's going to, if I'm doing a model, somebody's going to pay me for it, they're going to buy it for 200 or 300, 400 quid. They're going to literally want to put it in the cabinet and never touch it ever again. So I refuse to do poseable Gunpla now. It's just not. It literally put me off. It really did burn me out, because it just made it completely stressful. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. It's never, once it's assembled, it's never going to be reposed ever again, on pain of death. Doesn't mean I glue everything together. Like if you look at George's Sazabi, which I've now packed away, George's big massive master grade Sazabi that I did, you've got the torso is still movable, and the legs aren't. The knees are glued, and the legs were glued to the hips, but they're not really glued, so they still move around a bit. The arms are removable. The pauldrons come off. You can take the backpack off and all the the boosters and stuff like that. So it's still sub-assemblyable. You can pull the head off, but things like the elbow joints are glued, so the arm doesn't move. It's in a position. You can move it up and down on the shoulder, but you can't change the elbow. The knees are done. The ankles are, I think, glued. So it just means then that I can have those separate, and instead of having like a million things on sprues on sticks, I can just have 2 legs, 2 arms, the torso, the hips, and the top, and that's it. Makes life so much easier, and I think painting that Sazabi whilst keeping it poseable would just be a hell of Dante-ish proportions, I think. Ascension says, got Pledge but made up one that has the final coat. Pledge is not shiny enough to be a gloss coat. Pledge is not durable enough to be a protective coat. The entire purpose of Pledge is purely it's a utility coat. It's purely to give you a smoother surface for your decals and weathering if you need it. I would not count on Pledge as a finishing final coat at all. It's just not shiny. It's not designed for that. It's not meant to be. If you want a super shiny sports car finish, then you're getting into things like proper 2K clear coats, proper lacquer coats that you can polish and sand. You're not going to get sports car shine from something you can spray on and leave. That true sports car shine comes from applying the varnish and then sanding, wet sanding and polishing, which is, I did detailing for a few years, which is exactly how actual, detailing works. Because if you're getting into your 2K diamond finishes or your U-poles and things like that, that's actual automotive clear coat lacquers, and they're absolutely fine on models, but you have to then wet sand them back and polish them. I've known people do model cars use proper U-pole or 3M lacquer clear coats, and then use actual proper real world real car detailing compounds. Your Maguire's, I can't remember the numbers now, D300s for your medium finishes. You got the diamond stuff. It's been so many years since I've done it, I can't list all the polishes off. Your 3M polishes, all that kind of stuff. But then they sand them back. You wet sand them and you gently polish them to get that glassy finish. Because in the real world, when you see a shiny car, the paint is matte. The paint is either matte lacquer or matte water-based paint. There's no such thing as a shiny paint in the automotive world. You don't do shiny paints. The shine on a car or anything that's shiny is purely from the lacquer clear coat. And the reason you want to use lacquers for that is because you can sand and polish them. You cannot sand, or you won't be able to very well sand, an acrylic varnish or anything else, because they're not durable enough. If you try to sand and wet sand pledge, you'll just take it off. It's a really thin coat, whereas lacquers are durable. They're like made of, well, they may as well be made of like clear stone. But yeah, pledge is fine. If you don't need a super shiny finish, and I mean, I don't do shiny models, but I'd stick to using it as a utilitarian coat. Your decals and pin washes and things like that. I mean, I do brush pledge over things like when I paint a Space Marine. If he's got gold trim, I will, for example, do a gloss pledge coat over the Space Marine, and then perhaps do a brush over that. I'll either airbrush or brush to get shiny bits, and then do a matte coat over the bits I want to be matte, like the actual armor parts. Or I might very carefully brush gloss over the bits of his armor, like if there's any gold trim, to make that shiny. And it's enough there when you're brushing it on. At this scale, it's enough to make a little bit of a shine effect. But for something where you want it to actually look shiny, like a shiny car, shiny armor on your gunpla, yeah, you don't want to be using pledge. I really got the burps as well. Oh, I do apologise. I'm trying to hold them all in because it's rude, but boy howdy. I don't know where they've come from. Chat has moved quite a lot. I'll just get this done. Nearly finished prepping this dude. I know, me nearly finished prepping a dude in 20 minutes. How rare. Go figure. I learned an interesting thing today. I'm sure many of you have heard about the mystery of DB Cooper, the airplane hijacker that escaped with $200,000 in 1975-6, I think, by jumping out the back of a commercial airliner with parachutes and stuff. He hijacked the plane, got the money, and then escaped. And nobody ever knows whether he was successful or he got away or what, or who he was or what happened to him. But I didn't know that he's known as DB Cooper. It's the legend of DB Cooper, the airplane hijacker. But he didn't actually, wasn't his name that he used. They called him DB Cooper because on his airline ticket, the only example of the handwriting of him they had was that he signed his name, Dan Cooper, on the airline ticket. But the DB Cooper came from someone they arrested to interview, called DB Cooper, purely because he was called DB Cooper. They arrested him, interviewed him, realised he was nothing to do with it, and let him go. But for some reason, that name stuck. So it's the myth and legend of DB Cooper when it should be the myth and legend of Dan Cooper. I thought it was interesting. I didn't realise that, but yet, even so, to this day, we still refer to him as DB Cooper, even though he never did. Right, I'm going to scoot a little bit forwards. And with the Falcon, he's not going to put those hours in at all, says Paul. I don't know why. I will do my best on that Falcon, just not right at the moment. Doodaloo-doo. Andy McLeish says, I had to argue my fellow Google PhGs and GEMs how red is superior to blue. Essentially, all my paints are acrylics because I have to paint inside, so I may try that Vallejo Premium Gloss. Give it a try. I mean, it may well be fine if you do acrylics and then a lacquer. If the acrylics are fully cured, it may well be fine. The lacquer may not be too hot. If you're spraying the lacquer on, it may be all right, but there's always a risk with lacquers over anything that isn't lacquer that it might react with the paint and cause problems. Which is why I'm saying, if you're going to cover it, if you're going to seal it in lacquers, you may as well paint it in lacquers. Be safe. I'm going to zoom forward a bit in the chat. Time for food later all, says TK. Thanks, buddy. Is the stream freezing on anyone? Says TK. Says somebody somewhere. Is the stream freezing? An average of Leverage. Episode of Leverage covered the DB Cooper story. Is really good. I really like Leverage. Don't know what Leverage is. Yes, it's a fascinating story though. If you don't know it, the legend of DB Cooper in the 70s. Passenger on a Northwest Airlines 727. Signed his ticket as Dan Cooper. He got on board. Black suit, black tie, black boot, black shoes. Normal looking guy, you know. Sort of white, middle-aged, like mid-40s looking. A typical looking businessman type. Got on board. And then passed a note to the stewardess saying, I have an explosive device, and here are some demands. And then communicated with the crew and everything else. The other passengers didn't know. They flew around and stopped at an airport, wherever it was. I can't remember the places now. Refueled. The feds came along and gave him $200,000 ransom. He wanted $200,000 ransom and 4 parachutes, 2 front, 2 back. So two main parachutes and 2 spare parachutes. You know, the ones you wear on your chest. And they did all that. And he said, right, now we need to go to Mexico. So fly me to Mexico. And we're going to stop off at somewhere on the way to refuel because I want all the wheels down and I want the flaps at an angle of so many degrees. They had these demands. And then, so they did that. They flew off. And then when they got to the first airport stop, he'd gone. Because the actual back of the plane had a ramp that came from the back. So he lowered it and jumped out. Parachuted out. They hadn't realised he'd gone. But he was never found. The money has never been used. Because all the bills were marked. Apparently the bank had funds available. They had $250,000 already set aside for such events. So the bank obviously had a list of all the numbers on the notes. The notes have never been used in 40 odd years. A young lad did in 1980, so about 10 years later, somebody found 3 packs of notes along a riverbank nearby where they think he jumped out, but they don't really know how they got there because it wasn't really anywhere near he would have jumped out, but it's still a mystery. But they found 3 packs of notes. But other than that, the money's never been spent. Nobody's ever found it, and nobody knows who he was. There was a few suspects that came out, you know, that were lined up, and they thought it might be this guy or it might be that guy, but there's never been compelling evidence for any of them. So, fascinating story, yeah. He just jumped out of this plane. They don't know whether he jumped out and died, because he was in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. He jumped out into, like, basically woodland, forest land, in the middle of November in a shirt and tie, basically. They don't quite know how he would have survived if he had died on the landing. Fascinating story. Doodle-doo. Nim says, what are we talking about? Like wing kits due for an update. I'm talking about wing Gundam type stuffs. But I like things like that, like the DB Cooper stuff. I love things like that, reading about them. Because they're always fascinating to watch. I actually saw that. I was reading up on it, and there was one guy. There was some guy who allegedly found some like bits of a parachute and stuff near where they found that money, And it was quite funny because he had a whole website, he'd written a book, he'd done videos, and he was an ex-FBI guy on his team, and they were like, we know, we've done all our research, and we think it was this particular suspect that was DB Cooper, that was Dan Cooper. And here's all the evidence that we know it was this guy, and he was ex-army, and he may have been involved with the CIA, blah, 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 blah. All this evidence they threw out that they were convinced it was this one particular suspect that had been arrested in the 70s and then let go again, who'd always denied it for a whole life, and he'd since passed away, but... So they were absolutely adamant it was this one particular guy. But it was one of those things where they had a whole load of evidence, but there was one piece of evidence against them that just made all their evidence irrelevant, which was that the air hostess, the stewardess, who'd been sat with this guy on the plane for like 5 hours as a point of contact with the crew, looked at the photograph of the guy this person thought was the criminal at the time and said, yeah, it looks nothing like him. And yet this other guy wrote a book, he didn't ignore that. Yep, looks nothing like him. That doesn't matter. Well, it does. Never mind. But yes, never underestimate the power of someone who has a book to sell. And I'll explain that to you in my new book, available for $12.99 plus sales tax. Yeah. This is why whenever somebody has a conspiracy theory, you can instantly discount any conspiracy theory that involves buying a book, because it's clearly, obviously irrelevant. I did a comic strip about that on my Avoid Spikes strip. I need to glue on the base before I glue his other arm on, don't I? Now this guy's got a decent arm, you see, it's got a big square peg into which the arm goes, so you can't mess that one up. I'll probably mess it up. Let's glue him on first. I'm off catch tomorrow, says Chris at Grace Models. Thanks, Chris, for coming in. Take care, buddy. I shall see you on tomorrow. It's Wooden Wednesday tomorrow, don't forget. If you watch, Chris did some streaming today. He did his he's just finished the Last of Us gameplay stream earlier on. And I do thank him for only going for a couple of hours so I could do this stream. He could have carried on all afternoon if you wanted to, Chris, but thank you for stopping. And he did his Nano Lego stream this morning. You got to give credit to Chris. He's been doing a load of streaming all the last couple of weeks. Because as we all know, and this is what we've all of us have said, and I've said this many times, because we're all stuck at home, we're all getting the cabin fever. People like, me and Chris and everybody else, we are lucky enough to be able to do things like live streams to give people some sort of company. Not trying to make ourselves sound special or grand here, it's nothing like that at all, but there are there's people out there who this might be the only human contact they get with the people in chat. There's people who are in this hobby who are housebound, like Colin's housebound. He can't, Fester, he can't leave the house, so he depends on his internet friendships for human contact outside his own family, because obviously he sees his own family. I'm not housebound, but I work from home and I don't venture out very often because I choose not to. Well, not at the minute. I don't choose not to. Right now I can't, but I don't venture outside much because I choose not to. But yeah, that went on nicely, I think. There we go. Oh, yep. Oh, yep. Yep. Nope. But there are people who, when they watch these live streams and they hang out in the chat, like my stream or Chris's stream or the E-Model stream, we might be the only contact they have with other people for a lot of the times, especially right now when they can't even go out to the shops or anything like that. So Chris and I and all the other guys, we know we have a certain responsibility now to try and make things a bit easier. And yeah, it's just silly model making stuff, and it's not anything important. We're not doing any critically world important stuff here. We're just making silly little plastic models. I'm talking rubbish for 3 hours, but it's still something. So which is why, even though I might be in a low mojo time at the minute, and his head is not supposed to go on that angle, is it? No, it is. Wow. even though I might be in low mojo mode and I'm not, you know, not working on the Falcon and for other various reasons, like I said before, real world stuff and mental stuff and lots of other reasons. There's still things I can do that I can then stream and just give you guys a place to hang out. So, which is why, you know, you'll get me doing, you know, the Skyrim stream on a Saturday. It's nothing to do with model making, but it's a chance for you guys to have something to have on where you can hang out in the chat. It just happens that I'm on in the background. And yes, I've got a Discord channel and you can hang out and chat in there, but not a lot of people use the Discord channel, and it's not as interesting because in the background of these streams you've got me doing stuff and you guys can take the mickey out of me and you can take the mickey out of what I'm doing. Paul can take the mickey out of everybody and ban people, and it's just fun times. It's just fun times, which is why I don't mind people taking the mickey at me, because it's just comedy. It's grit for the mill. So this is why we do it. This is why we do it. I've still got 2 guys to go. Good God, this is going to go on forever. So yeah, do keep an eye on all our channels for stuff. How about this for you? H.H. Holmes, maybe Jack the Ripper. I don't know who H.H. Holmes is. And there's a lot of people that think Jack the Ripper might have been. I think the latest, most convincing suspect was some Polish or Eastern European chap, I think, who seemed to be quite a good fit. I don't know. I don't know who H.H. Holmes is, though. Paul says, the mystery I'm always fascinated by is the Cold War's numbers station. UVB 476. Is that the one? The buzzer. That's the famous one. UVB 476, I think. With the occasional bit of talkie in Russian. Gary Reynolds. Still got the Millennium Falcon I built watching your videos. Who was that? Fox, have you ever liked that sort of stuff? Have you ever come across the Missing 411 books? I haven't read the books. I know of Missing 411 or 411 because I do read a few websites that deal with his stuff. Unfortunately, his website is absolute garbage. You can't navigate his website at all. It's horrible design and I can't find stuff. And I've not got the books. And I'd love to just sit and read the stuff on his website, but it's just not a friendly website to read. It's horrible. It's like Stefan Popoulos or whatever his name is. It's like a Greek sounding name, but yeah, his website's absolutely horrible. I've tried going through it and it's like, nope. Yeah, I know of them. I've just not read the books. I don't actually want to spend money on mystery stuff. There's so much on the internet you can read for free. Yeah. There used to be a guy that had a blog called what's his name? Oh, it's long gone now, I think. I can't remember. There's a guy who used to go by the name of Zeno. But I can't remember his full pseudonym. We used to have a good sort of mystery blog type website blog that often had links to various interesting articles. I do read a website called Mysterious Universe, but it bugs the crap out of me because occasionally some of their articles are quite good, and they link me off to different things. But it bugs me endlessly because I'm skeptical. I'm a science-based skeptic. I don't believe in nonsense, mystery, woo-woo crap and crystals and yetis and stuff. But I still like reading that stuff because it's fascinating and there are some interesting things to be, things we don't understand. But this website, first of all, it doesn't necessarily take the woo-woo nonsense, tree-hugging, crystal sandal-wearing rubbish tactic, but it sometimes does, and sometimes it's quite skeptical, and sometimes it's like, oh, just credulousness is ridiculous. But also, it never links to anything in the article, so all the images are just stock photos. So very often there's no relevant pictures in the articles, and anytime they talk about a video, they never actually they never embed the video in the article. I don't know why. Everybody else in the world does. I understand copyright issues for images, but for videos they never embed them. So it's like the article. Sometimes they've done articles where they talk about a video that's been released. This video's come out and it shows this, and they don't even put the link to the video, and it's like, what? But they are quite frustrating sometimes, and they have an annoying habit of, you'll come across articles on their blog sometimes, and all their sources of information will be a Reddit user, like Here's 10 tales of people who've experienced X, and it's all like Reddit user this and Reddit user that, and I'm like, wait, you're writing an article based on things people wrote on Reddit that are just made up stories. Just delete the article. Yeah, it's like every time they say, now this Reddit user instantly dismissed. I don't. But I do love mystery stuff. I'm skeptical. I'm science-based. I'm not into spiritual nonsense and bullshit at all. It frustrates me that people can be so stupid that they do. But I do find it interesting. I do find it interesting. It's fascinating. Not everything is explained, but not everything is flipping. Oh, there's so much nonsense out there. It's fascinating sometimes. Well, thanks to landscapers, I can't hear a thing. They always show up at the wrong time, says Ascension Industries. Should they actually be working right now in the middle of a pandemic lockdown? Dave says, just wanted to do my bit, Dad. Starting to wind me up. People bemoaning the fact they are in lockdown. Most are still getting paid. All they have to do is get up when they want to sit in the garden. True. This isn't part 2 of Stig of the Dump. I don't know what that's a reference to. Fox, search Coast to Coast on YouTube. David Paulides. That's it, David Paulides. Not sure about the spelling. Yeah, Coast to Coast, George Norrie and that lot. See, I like mystery stuff, but I don't like when it gets into the kind of phone-in nonsense, because then it's just rubbish. It's just people phoning in conspiracy theory. I don't like... I have no love of conspiracy theory stuff, because 99.9% of it is just morons talking rubbish, like chemtrails. Shut up! You're an idiot. Don't know. Things like that. It's just nonsense. So I like mystery stuff, but not kind of the coast to coast stuff, which is woo woo nonsense. Oh my! As soon as somebody says either chemtrails or angels or anything like that, I'm like, you're discounted as an idiot now. Go away. Goodbye. Yes. I used to have a sub to the 14 times, but it turned into rubbish, says Reborn. That's exactly what I'm on about. I used to, Above Top Secret used to be a great website for that. Above Top Secret was a fantastic website forum where there was some rubbish on there, but there was some good stuff as well. And there's a good little community. And then it just became really, really nonsense. It went from being a good sort of slightly skeptical, logical, conspiracy-based website that also did mysterious stuff that was mostly people not credulous people. It then became lots of religious rubbish, and now it's just 99% people shouting about anybody, shouting about Trump, and it's just a political mud pit. So I've not been on ATS for a long time. I used to go on there all the time, but it stopped being credible and started being just rubbish. I highly recommend the Monster Talk podcast, a science show about the monsters with great show notes. They also produce in research of, based on the search of TV show. Cool. I do listen to the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, and that's quite fascinating. I love that. Where are we up to? I also love the Blurry Photo podcast as well. Yeah, I've not heard that, but I can imagine straight away. Wake up, sheeple, says Paul at TVNF. Yeah, pretty much. That's what frustrated me about Above Top Secret. It was a great source for, for some of the more far out there things that were obviously silly nonsense, but they were fascinating to read. Like, what was his name? Time Traveler Zero. He's got a stupid name. Tito, Thingy Tito, what's his name? Tito, the time traveler. There's a whole load of threads on there that were, obviously it's nonsense, but it was fascinating to read. And it used to be a good place, but now it's either just religious nonsense or it's just Trump chuds, MAGA chuds, giving abuse to anybody who doesn't have their point of view. And it's like, I'm not reading this anymore. It's just garbage now. It's true, Fox Scott posted pictures of strange trails over Orkney. A week later, they had chocolate hairy raptors in Arcadia Land. Banned. Chemtrails, you know what I mean? I don't know. There was a guy on YouTube who used to post videos, and he was obsessed about chemtrails. And the guy was clearly a nutter. I can't remember who, he's probably still going, but every day there'd be a new video of evidence of chemtrails. And he'd be like, look, here's a chemtrail. And it'd be a photograph, it'd be a video of a very blurry video of a spider in his garden. like on a spider web, and it'd be like you could just about tell what it was. It's like, dude, that's a spider in a spider web. And then there's one video of like just walking past his house, and somehow this links to it's just a video of a guy walking past your house. What? You need help. You do need help. There are some sort of these mysterious subjects that are fascinating. Like I say, the John Titor time travelers era thing. It's obviously made up nonsense, but it was still fascinating to read the investigations. There's various things that you can get your teeth into, and you can say, well, we don't know, and it's kind of interesting. But then you get these people that go off on chemtrails and all those kind of things. What was the Montauk monster? Nothing. It was just a dead animal on a beach. There's things that it does amuse me that the people that have these really convoluted, complex conspiracy theories actually have faith that any government can be that competent to cover all this stuff up. I don't know what world they're living in that they think a government can be that competent, but they really can't. I mean, look at any government doing day-to-day stuff. They're just useless. It's like the people. It's like the NASA moon landing hoaxers that say it's all lies, all hoax. It's like, you do know that almost 500,000 people worked on the Apollo project. Are you seriously telling me that 500,000 people have all kept a secret? No. You know, it's not how governments work. Anyway, yeah, it's still vastly amusing. Aye, but what about pyramids and ley lines? They all line up. Ley lines don't exist. I used to believe in chemtrails, says Essential Industries. Then I learned about airplanes. 10 points, 10 points. I found a video the other day. It was some woman who... It's just frustrating. There was some woman who had a YouTube channel about crystal healing, and she's a licensed crystal practitioner, and I'm like, you're just taking people's money for nothing then. All that kind of nonsense. It was here we go. EC Idaho has just won the internet. Because EC Idaho says that Capricorn 1 was a good movie, but not realistic. Capricorn 1 was a brilliant movie, and you're the first person I know that has actually seen it. So well done. You've just won yourself 10 internet points for knowing what Capricorn 1 was. No, you don't tell me my cat's just died. You see, it was going up to the garage, and it climbed up the tree, and... Yeah. Thousands of people worked on the Manhattan Project, and that was still a secret. It wasn't thousands of people, and that was in the middle of the war, and a lot of them were refugees from the Nazi oppression anyway, so they were quite happy to keep it quiet. Plus, it was a whole different thing. Those thousands of people were mostly physicists and scientists, and they're not that interesting to do anything dubious. Whereas if you look at the Apollo project, it was 500,000 engineers, people working in factories, just people making things. It was all different, and lots of private companies as well. Like a lot of the things that are used in Apollo were made by small private companies. A lot of the spacesuits were manufactured by small tailoring companies, and they've all kept quiet. Of course they haven't, because it's just nonsense. What the heck is a chemtrail, says Quanaman. It's the belief that when a plane flies overhead and you get the contrail, which is just the condensation from the tip of the wing because it's in the cold air, that it's somehow governments deploying chemicals to eradicate most of the human population. The idea with a lot of these, this is the funniest thing. The best way, I'm going to leave you with this thought. Here's how you can assess straight away whether a conspiracy theory is absolute nonsense or may have some... Because let's be honest, there have been conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. We're not denying that. But here's the golden rule. If you're told a conspiracy theory whereby it's some conspiracy where the Illuminati, the elite, are trying to whittle down and shave away the human population to a small number, so just the elite can then be in charge and rule the world because the population is out of control. A lot of these focus around the elite trying to whittle down the human population and cull us all, 5 billion people, so there's only 1 billion left and they can rule them all. And that's usually the focus. But there's a serious fatal flaw in that a lot of the times this might be by, for example, chemtrails, which is the idea that they're secretly putting chemicals in the air that kill people off or make them all mad and kill each other. It's like, okay, that's going to harm just as many people they don't want to kill as the people they do want to kill, because you can't control where the chemicals go because they're in the air. There's usually a fatal flaw in the theory somewhere that is like, okay, how would I make sure chemtrails didn't harm the people I want to keep going then? So when the Rothschilds wants to kill off 70% of the population. How do they protect the 30% from the... Yeah, there's always a fatal flaw, so it's usually not that hard to figure it out. But it makes me laugh. Chemtrails, they're here to kill us all. Okay, but how do they not kill people? Idiots. Anyway, let's have a quick last look at chat, and I think we'll call it a day. In all fairness, conspiracies don't have to have a lot of people, just a few at the top telling a lot of people who don't know or aren't in a position to ask questions what to do. True, I say there are conspiracies that did turn out to be true. They're not all nonsense, but 99% of them. Well, here's the other thing you can usually tell. Did the conspiracy theory start from an American? Because most of them are nonsense. Because they're all like preppers and stuff. It's all against the government. No, I just find it amusing that people actually have that much faith in their government to be that efficient. Because they're not. Where are we? I watched Capricorn 1 several times when it was originally on in the cinema. Yes. They built a space ark for the 30%, says EC Idaho. Damn, there you go. It must be true. Tomcat says, prime example, Agent Orange in Vietnam. They won't hurt US soldiers. Then look at what happened. Yeah, anybody who thinks the government are competent enough to have, or anybody is competent enough to have some kind of worldwide, like, culling program, no. Nobody's that competent. They can't even get buses to run on time or keep the streets paved or the public transport working. Yeah. Anyway, there we are. Right, so your point is made, says EC Idaho. Yes, anyway, I'm waffling on there. I'm getting carried away. I'm just filling 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's going to do us. I've got to go and make the tea now. I've done a couple of... That's not bad, you know. I've glued one guy together, and I don't know which one it was. And I've assembled another guy. There's 2 dudes in 2 hours. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Andy McLeese says, conspiracy theory, 5G is the cause of the current pandamoomin. I'm going to do a swear. What absolute utter bollocks. Anybody who believes that just needs to just stop existing because they're idiots. I don't know. Anyway, yes, a data transfer system. Never mind. Moving on. Don't want to get demonetized. Yes, that's good. We've got 6 of these built. There's 2 more to go. I'll probably just get them built off camera because I'm bored of these now. And I hate to say this, but after we built all these guys, there's more Space Marines to build because it's the next. Yeah, I don't know. We'll move on. We'll get past all this nonsense. Together, we'll come through this. We'll get past these. But that's going to do it for this show anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I'm not on this evening because I think Phil Prime from the Boom Hut is doing a stream tonight, so do make sure to go and check out that. He's new to streaming, so be nice to him, be gentle. He's a good lad. He's doing his stuff. So go and check his stuff out, Philip Prime. I will obviously be back on Saturday and Sunday with the Skyrim and the Warhammer streams. I'll probably try and do some stuff during the week as well. You never know. I'll probably just crack on with this. I will try and get some of the Falcon done again this week, though. But you know how it is. You know how these things go. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. If you do want to support this channel, if you want to help keep this channel going, you can, of course, consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/modelmakingguru, the address down there. Or when we're doing a live stream, you can, of course, use super chats. That also helps me out massively. But don't forget, of course, there are links down below to eModels, to Goblin Gaming, and to my Amazon stores. There are all other ways you can help support this channel while getting some stuff for yourself. It's always a good thing to do. But I shall say thank you very... what's this? Can't find part 2 for Stig of the Dump. Can you act it out for me? Says LD. What is he thinking about Stig of the Dump going on? I don't remember much about Stig of the Dump anyway, but I hated Stig of the Dump in the same way I hated Kez. God, I hate Kez. But yes... So I might come on during the week. If I do, it'll be a last minute job, so I'll pop a thing up in the Boom, or I may just start. So make sure you've liked this video and you subscribe channel and hit the notification bell as well, so you don't miss out on any unprompted, impromptu live streams. I'll just double check my buttons are still working. Yes, they are working. Miracle of miracles. Go and take care of yourselves. Go and make your dinner. Stay safe. Wash your damn hands. See that hand? It's been washed many times today, and it'll be washed many more. Wash your damn hands. Stay safe. Do what you're told. And until next time, I'll say take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.